authorities when they needed to hear some truth. I think we should applaud him. He's done well. He is doing well, and we pray that he will still do more for the country.
BC, a scholar, somebody that, if anytime I remember, is the role he has played in this administration, and he's not a friend to Femi Adesina, he's not a friend to Garba Shehu, but he will always speak truth to power.
But he's the friend of the people.
Yes.
So I think he's been highly consistent and very cerebral. You know that this is somebody that's a bishop that actually knows his onions, and he's done a lot of good for us as a country, at least by speaking the truth. Even when he is opposed, he's abused, and he's not a friend of the authorities, and you know what that means. When you're in this kind of position, you don't even care whether you are loved or not. But people love him. We love him. We wish him a very happy birthday, and we wish him long life, and we also pray that we continue to do what is right for the benefit of Nigeria, and to continue to live a selfless life, even as he's been doing.
We love him.
Yeah.
An ardent viewer of journalist Hangout. It doesn't meet journalist Hangout for anything. Anywhere he sees me, anytime we go for his peace meeting and everything, and he sees me, he's always saying that, thank you for doing a good, very good job.
Even know everybody who comes around here.
Honestly.
We'll call you by first name.
Honestly.
We'll remind you of some things you've said in the past.
Happy birthday to
Bishop
Hassan Matthew Kukah. Many more glorious life years ahead. I pray that you live to see the Nigeria of your dream. Moving on now. We are still at crossroads as we try to wriggle out of the familiar but sad scenario of the 6-month-old strike by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU. To save the situation, the National University Commission, NUC, has scheduled a meeting with the Minister of Education, Adamu, pro-chancellors of federal universities for the 6th of September. Will the meeting break the seeming deadlock? Dari, let me come from the perspective of state universities. Governors are saying that, look, some state universities, they are calling them to come and resume. Lagos State University, I think they're in session. Some other state university, and the agreement at the end of the day with ASUU, will it affect the state university? Now, let's now look at the dimension of the National University Commission and this committee of vice chancellors and the pro-chancellors
of federal universities.
Of federal universities.
Yeah, well, you see, we are taking a new bend in this scenario, and it's not going to augur well for all concerned, I must say. First, let me start with the meeting called by NUC. It will not break the ice. Rather, it will, and it is already creating more confusion. I'll explain. When they were going to call pro-chancellors, chancellors, and vice-chancellors, they did not invite those of state universities because they couldn't have. NUC couldn't have ordinarily. That is one. Two, whatever.
Because the visitors to these universities are
different. They're the governors. Now that takes us back. That simply means that resolution may not affect state universities. That is one. Secondly, it is a pointer to what we've been saying, that no matter how long this strike lasts, it is just the first phase. Because by the time an agreement is reached today, the state university will have to make it bind on their governors. Usually, it will lead to another series of strikes, state by state. And then, by the time federal universities are spending 6 months, the states will start a fresh one, maybe another 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And each state will take its own time to resolve these issues. Where will it lead us at the end of the day? Nowhere is the answer. And that's why I keep insisting that neither the federal government nor ASUU has been fair in what has been happening so far. A lot of people don't like me saying this, but that's the truth. I think something is missing critically And that's the interest of the students. If both parties have been acting with the interest of the student paramount, we'll have resolved this earlier than now. We are having, you know, AY, thank God, you recall that some of us were student activists back in school. ASUU will not have found it easy having a 6-month old. All we needed to do is to be marching around their quarters on a daily basis. It's our way of telling them we are tired. And in those days, they take our interest into consideration. Immediately they start seeing those matches, they will call us. What are the issues?
47,001 students.
We now start all those semantics. And they will ask us, are you tired? We say we are tired. What are the issues? SARS and MAS. They will tell us this is what we are asking for. What has been offered to you? They will say, we say, okay, why don't you take this, resume. Then give us as students a month too to hit the streets, to make demands on your behalf. And we did that several times. Several times, and it worked. Because the government fear our own demonstrations more than the teachers' own. But today, it's as if the students are no longer the center.
No, they're not together again.
It's not, they are no longer the center of the discussion, the center of that. If they are, somebody should have shifted ground. Okay, you move a little, I move a little, let's consider the lives of these ones. But that is not happening. And what did we see? When I read ASUU declared indefinite strike, I felt like weeping. My anger is with the federal government. Whatever it takes. You don't have to solve all the problems once. Make concessions. Don't use harsh languages. Be civil. Draw these aggrieved teachers closer. And then let's find a meeting point. But what are we saying? You talk about this meeting that has been called. I see this meeting as an offensive on the striking lecturers. And it is unnecessary. When you start calling the principal officers of the schools, what are you saying? Are you going to ask them to go and force them to resume? We'll create more problem or sack them? No, that's not what we need.
Oh, Olabisi, now in a bit to break that deadlock, the federal government have tried to penetrate, you know, the unions. So they've succeeded in calling SANU back, that's senior staff, SANU back, and they've called NASU, that's the non-academic staff. But a lot of people will tell you that if it's not Panadol, it's not the same thing as Panadol. Yeah. That it is ASUU. That's the students are there to learn, and anything that beyond ASUU, the NASU, SANU, they're just complementary.
The truth of the matter is that without sounding as if one is unmindful of whatever could be the demands of SANU, NASU, and other unions in the university system, nobody really knows what they do. The universities are created for students.
Yes, to learn.
And to learn. And that is the first thing. So once students are not learning, teachers are not teaching, then university is not working. It doesn't matter what NASU or SANU or any other person is doing. So recalling them has no effect.
That cannot bring the student back.
It cannot bring the, because when they come back, are they, is SANU going to teach them? It's not, you know, teachers are the ones that we teach. And back to this meeting that you are talking about, I think we should first of all ask ourselves, what is the agenda of that meeting? What is the agenda? What the feelers we are getting is that, well, not even feelers alone, the ASUU president said it publicly that the minister has said that it will use ASUU to teach unions a lesson. So what is the lesson? And he has also said before that students should sue ASUU. So when you hear such pronouncements, you know where the minister is coming from. So most likely this meeting is not going to be for ASUU. It's likely to be, we have also been told that, well, since other people working in the universities have resumed, that university is not for lecturers alone. So therefore, if some, and don't forget that some lecturers, they said some lecturers have said they are ready to come back to work. And that if those ones are ready to come back to work, then they could as well open the universities. But the government has forgotten that it is not the one that shut the universities.
In the first place.
The federal government didn't shut universities. So there is no question of reopening universities. ASUU strike resulted in the shutdown of universities. And unless you resolve that problem, you cannot say that we have universities working the way they should work. You understand? So I don't want to believe that the federal government thinks that universities can reopen, that some lecturers can come in and be teaching. How many courses would they teach? How do we get all the lecturers? Do you know how many courses, how many programs are run? How do you get professors, teachers, and all the people that will teach all those
I think there's another
courses?
union now to undermine ASUU.
Yes, that one has not been formally registered.
Okay.
So it can't even...
From the University of Ife.
Yes,
they still go out, they lecture students, but they can't conduct examination.
But they can't. So
they cannot conduct examination. So are they going to lecture for the next 1 year? Non-stop?
No.
You see, the point is, the creation of all the encouragement of this new union, the type of invitation pro-chancellors and others got, the kind of languages allegedly being used by some government officials have not helped the entire situation.
That's the problem.
And that is where we should be paying attention. Do we want to resolve issues, or want to stampede these people to stop this strike, to come back another day?
So immediately, how do we quickly resolve no work, no pay stands by the federal government? And as there's a law in that labor law that nobody is going to be punished for any action during...
Okay, now let's look at this thing. Let's look at it objectively.
Please, quickly.
Now, okay, what caused this strike? Was government at fault at all? Government is at fault. There are so many agreements reached with the union that government did not implement. So government is at fault. Now, if this strike happened, you should work at resolving it. Don't go back to say that no work, no pay. Like the lecturers have said, the work we didn't do, we are still going back to do them. Or are you saying that once we resume, we should just jump the section that we didn't do and move to another section? You know, it's a very complex situation. So instead of complicating, instead of complicating the matter, let them just...
I would just want to be cautious in responding to that, because if we leave lecturers to go on strike for as long as they like, the students will suffer. So if it will need such conditions to make them resolve issues faster, I will support it. If it's going to take no work, no pay, to make lecturers go back to class in good time, yes, they can ask for their rights, but not just endless.
All right, we have to leave.
I won't support an endless.
Okay. Moving on now.
It's not good enough.
Aviation fuel scarcity, dollar shortage, hike in airfares to trapped funds. The aviation sector in Nigeria has faced a torrid time. Now, the federal government has threatened to shut down domestic airlines over multi-billion naira debts. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, said airlines owe the federal government 19 billion naira and $7.6 million, which they have refused to pay despite receiving the money from customers. The airlines have 30 days to pay and have their licenses suspended. Here we go again. You know, when Emirates threatened to leave, you know, most people fly Emirates and everything. And so the CBN governor the next day had to make a categorical statements. We pay in naira, and Emirates, they quit their money. They want to get it out of the country in dollars and everything. And this is local airlines now. And from time immemorial, I can't remember, there was a time I had something to do with FAN. I know that these airlines, they are always owing FAN, NCAA, that check up the billions of naira at any given time. It's been a long battle, but they will always collect this money in terms of ticketing.
So how come that it always happens? Then there must be a problem with the system that allows that to happen from time to time without check over the years. So there must be a problem with that system. What are we doing with that system? Now, with all that NCA has said, these operators are also saying that they should not allow themselves to wash their dirty linen in public. That if they begin to also say the things that NCA is doing that they are not supposed to do to them, that the whole
That's the regulator.
that the whole world will know what is happening. So you can see from that response that there are some things happening between both the regulators and the operators that are not ethical, or things that that cannot promote good business relationship. And I think that is the problem that they should face, because if you do business, you should pay you should pay. Once you have collected dues from customers, you should be able to remit that to the appropriate authorities. Why do you keep on holding on to such money and nothing is done? And after this now, even after this threat, what will happen? They will still go back and say that let us discuss among ourselves. Why? Because the regulatory authority also has probably failed in some of his duties, and it must have been seeking the understanding.
And that could be dangerous.
Yes, and that is what I can. Yes, exactly. So that is what I can see.
People fly in the air, and we need safety and all that.
Exactly.
Let me
the regulator
give this example, and I believe this is the scenario there. When you put your child in a school, and there are two scenarios. You are a fee-paying parent. You pay promptly, regularly. If you see infractions or things that is not pleasing to you, you speak out and you complain. And they quickly listen to you because they don't want to lose you. On the flip side, is a parent that is always owing. When you owe and you now see some complaints, you won't be able to talk. Because ordinarily you are a problem to the school. If you talk too much, they can ask you to take your child and go away. That's what I see in the drama. You see, and don't forget what just happened NBC and some TV stations. It's examples. Where the passengers pay.
Abi?
Promptly.
We don't pay instrumentally.
Not instrumentally. So all you need to do is calculate what is due to the various agencies, give it to them. If you do that regularly, the issue of NCA or any agency not living up to expectation will not arise. Because if I pay you regularly, I do all I have to do, I'll complain. But they have been keeping quiet all along, managing whatever the agencies do to them, because they also are failing in their remittances. So now, what do we have? We have a situation whereby the authorities, the regulatory body is saying we can no longer continue to have you. And then we are hearing music like, if you don't let us talk. It is high time they talk. Let them talk.
Let everybody talk.
All of them should talk. There is no way you will run a sector like the aviation industry in this manner. If monies are not being paid, certain things that concern safety are not being done. And then the life of the passenger has risk. And the most dangerous part of all this, tomorrow they will not pay. NCA will say we are revoking their licenses. And we Nigerians will shout, why? You see now, you have started again. Not knowing that at the end of that chain, we are the most concerned. It concerns us more than any other person because we are the one flying. See, we must understand how these things work. Let the airlines do the needful. They can meet with the authority and say, okay, let us design how we offset this there. This idea of don't let us talk will not work. That's blackmail.
So this is counterproductive
It
now.
will not work.
When you look at the FS, somebody was saying it earlier this week that sometimes last year, you can get a return ticket to Abuja for 30,000 naira if you book online.
Yes.
If you book ahead of time and everything. Look at the situation now. If you don't have 100 and something thousand naira for
2130, I'm going nowhere.
I think also part of the problem with the regulatory agency is the fact that these people also are not getting their FX at official rates, which is also a problem, which shouldn't be. It's part of the problem.
CBN should come to your rescue.
CBN should have, and because it's like the Yorubas will say, "Amokun eru ewo."
Now looking at
The CBN allow them to get FX at official rate.
Okay.
After all, they are part of the people that should be getting it at the official
Honestly.
rate. Yeah. So maybe that will help.
To make it available.
Yeah. Let's.
How about for these international airlines that people pay their money, they have $400 and something million trapped in the country? How will
I think CBN has.
the CBN is taking some steps. Fine, good. But there is still need for a lot of discussions. Don't forget that there is an angle to it that we should consider.
So from tomorrow, Emirates will stop flying?
No, they'll find
they
it.
will
I
fly.
think they.
I even think now they are saying that I read somewhere today that for British Airways that you have to now buy your in dollars.
In dollars.
As a customer.
So you go
won't
get
collect
in
Nigeria
Naira.
now.
Yes.
And then we'll pay more.
I'll go and look for dollars
because
to
they
pay.
are now going to collect Naira from you.
Because it is becoming difficult to get CBN to help them evacuate their fund.
Which is.
And I was told that some people will have to go to Ghana to fly out of the country on international routes.
And it's cheaper.
That is cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, it may eventually become cheaper with the way things are. But I think it is part of what we are saying. There is a need for an holistic view of the whole development, and we must find a way. That sector needs attention. And then, because people keep moving. Local flights is a problem today. It's becoming a problem today because the roads are no longer safe. If you must move now, the safest thing is to fly, so that you avoid being kidnapped along the road. So, and now to get money to do that is a problem. The airlines are threatening, the authorities are saying we shut you down. We must find a way of doing things that make life easy for our people.
All right.
Every day it's becoming more and more difficult to live in Nigeria, and it's not good.
Okay, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this Hangout. Please stay with us.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccines-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122.
This message is from NPHCDA in partnership with the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Showing up in style inspires great confidence. IVM G5T appeals to class.
Time is of the essence. With IVM Kappa, business and meetings are always on the go.
Fun time with the family. Thank you to IVM Kingdom. IVM Karis always stealing the show. Isn't she beautiful? Influence defines a great leader. IVM Seriki is Africa's commute king. Strong, reliable, and durable. With the concept of regionalization, Innocent Vehicle is committed to satisfying its customers with producing their everyday dream cars.
IVM, pride of African road.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Journalist Hangout. Stealing of crude oil in Nigeria has reached a level that something drastic must be done to halt it. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, has defended the pipeline surveillance contract given to former militant leader, government, Ekpom Polo, popularly known as Tom Polo. Speaking at the presidential villa in Abuja, the group chief executive officer of NNPC, Mele Kyari, said the federal government took the right decision by hiring private contractors to secure oil pipelines nationwide. He added that some religious leaders are involved in oil thefts. Dari, at the beginning of this administration, this same government, Tompolo, was declared wanted.
So before the beginning of this administration?
Yes, in 2015. They were still looking for him.
When this administration started?
Check very well. Yeah. They were still looking for him. I remember maybe Ebun Adeburu used to be one of his lawyers then and everything. And the whole search and everything, after some time, it went down. So from a wanted man
to a government contractor.
To a government contractor. That man must really be powerful.
No. Things happen. When Nigeria happens to you, the best you can do is accept it, analyze it, and see why. Things happen. That's Nigeria happening to you and me and to Tompolo now. You see, like I was trying to say, he was declared wanted before the advent of this administration by a former government. And then the authorities of this administration inherited the search. And I think at the beginning we were being told that they cited him here. But after a while, nobody was talking about Tompolo. And then we started seeing him at social functions. And nobody was talking about arresting him. And today, don't forget that government did not just say we want to protect pipelines and we want to give it to Tompolo. No. They said we want private security outfits to help protect our pipelines. And at the end of the day, I'm sure if you ask for the bidding papers, you will see them. Some companies must have bidded. He bidded along with them and he made the...
So, Dari, I'm taking you to February 11, 2016, where the EFCC declared Tompolo wanted.
That is
2016, this administration.
Yes.
Is this administration?
This administration, that's from EFCC.
Yes.
Yes. You see, but before then, he was in trouble. That's what I'm trying to establish. Okay. Now, what became of this EFCC search is what I was trying to explain, that after a while, we're not hearing anything again. So now, he emerged that he's a government contractor. And like you said, they must have his contacts in the right places. But beyond the person of Tompolo, the question I want to ask is, do we have needs to really protect the pipeline? I'll say yes. If you know the level of vandalization that goes on along the route of our pipelines, forget the economic disadvantage of the country.
Communities.
Forget what government is losing or Nigeria is losing as a nation. The danger to lives and properties. We've seen it happen. There was one in Delta State some years back. Hundreds of the OD one was there. The one in Lagos here, somewhere where that school got burnt and all that. You see, the truth of the matter is we need to halt pipeline vandalization. It's important. Not only because of what I said, also the effect of the tankers and trailers on our roads. If there are less vandalism, the movement by vehicles will reduce. But the question Nigerians want to ask now, you see, the name Tompolo casts shadows over all these other reasons. The question now is, why should it be Tompolo? And I'll tell you, maybe those in authority have come to realize that the best thing we can do is to ask the cats to guide the pot of meat. You understand? Maybe they have discovered that that's the best for us, so that we will avoid the loss of lives and the other attendant dangers. If Tompolo and his men will guide the pipelines properly, maybe we should test them out, because there was a time it was Gani Adams and his own men too. So since we have gotten to a stage where our armed forces, our armed forces can no longer protect our lives and properties, and we need private individuals and organizations, well, if it can be any other Nigerian, I don't see why it should not be Tompolo.
I saw on another medium some Niger Delta boys carrying RPG, carrying guns, then saying that, look, they were excluded from the largest, that in their own community they have a lot of pipelines that goes through their own community, that the federal government shouldn't have made Tompolo the sole protector of the pipelines. This is the bandwagon effect that we should expect.
Well, actually, when you look at the situation of, I don't want to describe Nigeria as a failed country, but some will say it is. But a situation where the non-state actors are more powerful than the state, than the government. A lot of abnormalities.
You get to see things like this.
Yes, you get to see things. I will not say that why I'm talking about abnormality is because we know who Tompolo was before, you know, getting this kind of contract. And he's not getting it for the first time, by the way. Yes. He's been doing it even before this administration. You know, the way they fought themselves, it's like you bring the nation down to its knees in order to gain popularity, and at the end of the day, government now comes to you and bows to you so that you can allow the rest of us to have our peace. I guess that is why people are talking about Tompolo and this contract. Otherwise, I do not see anything wrong in private individuals or private companies getting the job of surveillance of our pipelines. Because the question we should ask ourselves is this: do we need to protect them? Ordinarily, we should have made use of technology more, but we are not. We are not deploying. Yes, and the quantum of theft is huge. And you also know that these people, they've been stealing this thing, and when they employ them to do this job, does it reduce stealing or theft? It does. Yes. So you now have to calculate what are you gaining by employing them and what are you losing by not contracting them. So when you look at the whole equation, you now find out that, oh, it's better for you to probably get these people. I guess it's because of who Tompolo is. Yes. That is why people are talking about Tompolo. But issuing contracts shouldn't be a problem. Everybody does it. You have to protect your assets. As of today, this oil is our national asset. That is where we all eat from. And whatever we can do to protect and preserve, we should do. So I also think that is why the NNPC man is talking from that perspective. That, well, it's not the only, that it was a bidding process, and they found out that it could do the work. And as people are even complaining, like you rightly said, that is the problem. I hope those ones now will not also intensify efforts at blowing pipelines so that they can be recognized.
That will be his own responsibility.
Exactly. They have given him the job.
Okay.
Because he's expected to carry them along.
Afolabi from Songo Ota in Ogun State on the line. Thank you for joining us, engineer.
Yes, Mrs. Folutile Ayo and Derek. I think I want to tip some words on the issue of remittance. Like I said yesterday, we seem not to understand what remitting is all about. And when I look critically, I think the Ministry of Finance needs to wake up. Or maybe there are some of the kind of mechanisms that are going on. How can you be running out and in when it comes to money? Is what we call economy. We want the economy to function. You are choking money. When you choke money, you don't transfer money when it's supposed to be at the right time. Your economy cannot flow, and it will have problem. That's what we are seeing now. The dollar is 690 naira. And how do they make payments accordingly when it is around every? And again, I think the Minister of Finance, to me, should come up to show that she is eligible.
Thank you.
Good morning.
So, moving forward now, we've seen this trend, and I thought the NSCDC, that it was part of their responsibility, that they have a primary functional responsibility to guard these pipelines. And they are armed.
For this purpose.
So,
You will recall that when the argument for and against the NCDC carrying arms started, the issue of pipeline protection was the focus. And then we've spent so much money arming them, providing logistics for them, vehicles, ensuring that they have units in all parts of the country.
They're now serving as security to
and now all they can do is serve as security aids to council chairmen, not even state governors, because those ones prefer soldiers and police, council chairmen and possibly councillors. You see, we don't get our priorities right in this country.
So what they are paid to do,
they can no longer do it. Are we now talking?
Effect. So we now go for militants, non-state actors.
No, we have to see. If we pay attention to who they are, we may miss the point.
Because these guys will be armed to carry out this job.
Now, that is private security organizations. That's what they are now. Let's see them as that. Because if we begin to look at, you see, the danger in what we are doing is much. We are harming those who may likely in future turn their gun on us. Little disagreement with the state, these non-state actors will get angry, and we have given them licenses to carry arms for the purpose of protecting our pipelines. But what happens tomorrow? Then you already see placards. Tomorrow we'll have to call the other warlords and say, sit down, let me share the largesse with you. You take this, you take this. They are also going to get armed. Local militias here and there for the purpose of protecting pipelines. What happens tomorrow if we have a larger issue that does not favor or pleases them, and they are harmed? What happens to individuals among these people who falls out with the leadership of his own military groups and take his arms onto to the streets? We have seen policemen and soldiers turning their arms on the citizen. How much more these non-state actors that we can actually not control?
If you remember in Rivers State, this is how we got to the to discover the likes of Asari Dokubo.
Yes, now, and they are very powerful Nigerians today.
Some of them are now traditional rulers.
So that's the that's the major problem. But look at it. For example, look at your own estate now. If you live in an estate, did you rely on that perspective that Nigeria has also realized itself that its own security forces have failed, and they cannot do this job, and it needs to probably employ others to do the job. But let the job be done, and let's just stop this bleeding, because the bleeding is too much.
And finally, the build-up to the 2023 general election is getting frantic, and the early signs indicate that the polls, which will be the 7th in the electoral cycle since 1999, promise to be eventful. In a meeting with governors on the platform of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, President Muhammadu Buhari promised to ensure credible conduct of the election. President Buhari emphasized his desire not to interfere in the process. This determination has been displayed over and over again by President Muhammadu Buhari, from the Anambra election down to the Edo election, to Osun election, and he has midwifed the election that this administration, his political party, did not do well. They lost the election, and he's saying that yes, that's the kind of election that I want to preside over in 2023 will be something that is credible.
Well, anyway, when I read the president's message, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, we should have credible election now, shouldn't we? The election should ordinarily be credible. So I was wondering why the president...
No, it's been a luxury in Nigeria since 1999.
Why the president needed to
there will always be this power of incumbency and interference from the ruling party. I'm still coming to where
you are going now. That I was wondering why the president needed to reiterate it. It's like persuading and convincing himself, and also passing a message probably to the party people that this is my stand, that this... But you see, if you do this analysis critically, it's like an indictment, and it's like doesn't mean that elections must be rigged. Anyway, I commend the president for telling us that our elections in 2023 shall be free, shall be fair, and without any form of interference. And I also need to give it to the president, truly, even though it's not something I would like to say, because I'm thinking that under a normal circumstance, that is, it should be given that elections should be free and fair. It's not that we should be depending on the body language of the president to know whether election is going to be free or fair, because that is the kind of interpretation that some people could read into what the president just said. But by and large, Ekiti, it was free and fair. Well, they said it was free and fair. Oshun, but let me tell you something. The fact that the ruling party loses in an election does not mean that it is free and fair. That shouldn't be the yardstick for showing that an election is free and fair. We also need to understand that. You get it. What about the money politics that we have been promoting all this while? We need that. The president should also help us to talk about that and find out how we can overcome that problem.
In this climate, we know that state governors, they have their own independent electoral commission. And we know that since 1999, they've been conducting local government election. And we've seen that, look, there are a few states that you can make reference to since 1999 that they've not had all their local government chairmen from their own party. We've seen it. We've even seen INEC before now, that there's something they used to, even if politicians, if they're campaigning on the podium, they'll be talking about federal mights. Yes, I remember that time. Politicians will come to use soldiers, use ammunition.
It has not stopped. It is only better. I tell you that what President Muhammad Buhari is doing is every day when he talks about these free and fair elections, he's only repeating the obvious, in my opinion. And I think it's high time. If you look at what has been happening, you talked about local government election in states. How many of it has Buhari been able to ensure that it's free and fair? So it goes beyond what he feels he wants to do or what he says he will do. His control over the electoral process is limited as an individual. What he is voicing, and that's why I say, yeah, give it to him. He's expressing his mind. But what he is voicing are his wishes. Are these wishes transmitting into the desire of the average Nigerian? My answer is no. That we are seeing APC, the ruling party, losing in some places. You see, it's just like what we do or what Nigerians do generally. APC lost in Osun and everybody say, oh, the election is free and fair. The same APC won in Ekiti and they said the election was rigged. I don't think we should use those as the parameter. Money politics is worse now than it used to be. What we saw, you were on the field. What we saw in Osun, what we saw in Ekiti, proves to the fact that there is a new brand of rigging. The era of rigging with figures, changing the figures, seems to have been defeated by technology. Now you rig the people themselves. Yes, the people are being rigged now. Come, take 10,000. You hold it on the left hand. Then the other person says, how much did he give you? 10,000. Take 15,000, and he will hold it to 25, 10, 15, 25. Then he will now decide where he's going to vote. Is that kind of vote casting free and fair? It is influenced. So the fact that we no longer see ballot snatching, we no longer see results being tampered with, does not mean the election is free and fair. Our election is getting more and more monetized by the day, and that's more dangerous because gradually the number of voters are reducing, but the amount of money being spent on voting, election, is increasing because people now identify, okay, how many people are likely to vote. They go for them, monetize them, and they determine who win. That determines who wins or loses. Is that what we call free and fair election? I'll tell you that what we now have is the election of the highest bidder, where people are no longer rigged out, but they are out-rigged. If you lose election in Nigeria now, you cannot say I was rigged out. You will be wrong semantically and grammatically. Between me and you, if you contest Ayo and I win, it simply means that I have outrigged you because you also rigged. You also try to bribe the people. I only spend more money or I got more sympathy. So will you say I rigged you out? No, I outrigged you. You were rigging, I was rigging, and I rigged more. And I won. We cannot call that democracy. We cannot call that free and fair election. I don't think that is something we should be celebrating. And if that is what Mr. President thinks he sees as an achievement, I'm sorry.
I think
we still have a far road to go.
I think we are trying to expand the scope here, but the people of Edo State, they went to the poll, and what they did was a reflection of what they wanted. It reflected democracy.
Yeah. No, I think.
Ayo, can you prove that?
No, I even think we should.
Edo State.
Yes, can you prove that?
No, I think we should even talk about. We should talk more.
That's what the people want.
No,
for me.
Let's take it that is what happened.
Okay.
But I will even give that to the deployment of of technology by INEC.
Good.
And that is what I will give that to. That probably INEC now
under this administration.
Yes, nobody is. We are not saying that we are not commending the president for allowing INEC
to perform its functions.
Right. No, that is not what we are saying. Without interference.
Yes, we agree
he has done well in that area, but I'm just saying that it should be given. But you are right.
That's not something we should demand.
Exactly, it should be ordinary. But I also agree with you that we had situations in the past that probably this issue of federal might. And that is probably why he's talking about it and all of that. But I think what we owe our electoral process to deployment of technology and ensuring that technology works. See, when we continue to do that, we will just realize that, and then campaigning, doing enlightenment programs for people to actually go and vote. When we have a large number of people going to vote, all these politicians, when you budget maybe money for 200,000 people, and you now have 3 million people coming out,
your money will that's the kind of thing I will have argued with you about Edo. Yes. You see, we saw it in Edo, we saw it in Ekiti, we saw it in Osun. The raw money played. We're not blind to this thing. The fact that eventually the people, somebody won because there was this assumption that we didn't want to go this way. We also boldly say Ekiti, it was all the people want. Osun, it was all the people want. These are things we cannot prove. Some people were influenced financially.
To a large extent.
Now we found out that those who spent more monies won the election. It's as simple as that. The analyses are obvious. The role money played. There are some traditional voters, party members. Let me tell you, it's just like it happened in one of these two later states I mentioned. What they did was to sit down in each voting unit. They did who are the party members, APC members. They know them. PDP members, they don't spend money on those ones. Even if you give them money, they will vote for their party. They are die-hard party members. Who are the non-party voters? And they went after them. And these are the people who are the main complainants. You see, party members used to see rice, they used to see chicken, they used to see some small money. These people don't get anything. And they put up their votes for sale. And at the end of the day, if you spend more money in Ede, you win Ede. I spend more money in Ikire, I won Ikire. You spend more money in Onwande, you won. I spend more in Oredo, you won. And we want to begin to celebrate that. That has also defeated the gains of technology. Because at the end of the day, you cannot discountenance those votes. They were casted and they are authentic. But is that what the people will have done ordinarily without the influence of money? It's debatable, AY. It's debatable.
Your final take on this?
Well, my final take, I think if the president really wants to help us, he should empower the Nigeria National Orientation Agency to do more of enlightenment campaigns.
Okay. let's quickly pick this call. Julius is calling us from Valencia in Spain.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, Julius.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Concerning what you were discussing, I quite agree with Mr. Dari. Whether it's a do election or whatsoever election, money played a very big role. So people are bought. The issue of Tompolo is a disgrace. It's a national disgrace that Nigeria cannot import drones and let the Navy and the Air Force work the work they are supposed to do. So it's a national disgrace, because when someone who does not have even a complete registered security apparatus to be doing the work of the Navy, police, and all of that, it's a disappointment. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution, Julius.
So I was saying that the president should also try to help empower the National Orientation Agency to mount up campaigns for Nigerians to actually do.
Is there
I don't know. They should. I think they are there. They are in existence.
Under the Ministry of Information.
Yes.
They are. Let them just at least let them encourage Nigerians to go cast their votes. Okay. The more people that go out to vote, the less money bags will be able to influence the outcome.
I'm not aware about the existence of the National Orientation Agency.
Based on their activities. Based on their activities. Now, no, you are saying that.
No, but it's right. They still have buildings.
They have buildings. They have people, and they have
that they are actually doing the job.
Dead organization, dead paracetamol.
So let's wake it up.
ADG was recently appointed and then we will get money voted for that agency in our budget year in, year out, and then you don't get to hear anything about them. Look at the days of MAMSA.
Yeah.
That's when you know that we had an NOA. Yeah. They were out there sensitizing people. All you need to do is do more of that. I agree with Madam here.
All right, Dari,
we don't see that.
Thank you for your contribution. Olabisi Digi, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tomorrow, this night by 11 p.m. Join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday by 1 to 3:30 p.m. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Join us to stop crude oil and product theft at production sites, on the pipeline, at terminals, at the depots, on vessels, at refineries. Help stop crude oil and product theft. Report infringements to www.stopcrudetheft.com. You can also validate genuine purchase at validate.stopcrudetheft.com. Please report and be rewarded. This message is from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company.